So all of you and your brothers and sisters all went, even Brian?
No, Brian was with my mum.
Brian stayed with your mum?
Our sonny was in Lim, and me and Philly in Bowden Vale in Altrincham.
Yeah.
And our Varley was in Cheadle.
Yeah.
And Brian was with my mum.
So at what point were you separated from your mum and dad?
Well, the day we got on the boat to be evacuated.
I see. You got on a different boat to your mum?
Well, she waved to us.
I see.
And we didn't realise then what was happening.
I bet she was upset, eh?
And somebody said, did she go down the boat to wave you off? And I said, no, she didn't. I expect if the truth is known, they didn't have any money to go to town and wave us off. And on the other hand, it might have been too distressing.
Yeah.
We don't really know, do we?
No, no.
When I was older and I said to my mum, well, I wouldn't have allowed my children to go like that. She said, you would. You've got to be in the position to know.
Yeah.
If you thought the Germans were coming, you would have let your children go.
Yeah. Yeah. So going to town was a big deal then?
Yeah.
It was like a big trip, a day out?
Yeah.
If you went to...
It wasn't actually a day out, but it took you a long time to walk.
Yeah.
You know how far it was from St Martin's to the town.
Yes.
It was quite a way.
Yes. So you didn't go there very often?
No.
No.
But there always seemed to be plenty to do and keep us occupied. But that was when we went back, was like I said, New Year's Day.
Yeah, so you were gone for...
1946, 5 years.
Yeah.
And then my mum had a sister that was a children's nanny in Sheffield. And their name was Middleton. Now, my mum put her sister's address in all our gas masks, thinking, well, one day somebody's going to open them gas masks and they'll find the address, which is exactly what happened. So the people where we lived wrote to my mum's sister. She came and collected me and Philly and Sonny, because we were all quite close, Lim and Bowden Vale. And she took us to Bellevue Zoo. But she wouldn't let us go on those great big rides up and down like they do, you know. But she paid for us to go on all these trips. And this great big monkey had a big sheet and getting our Sonny to tug of war. I always remember that. And our Sonny was pulling. All of a sudden he let go. And our Sonny fell back and he stood there laughing. But then she must have, when my mum got in touch with her sister, she must have given them all the addresses, you see. Well, my mum and our Brian was with somebody called Mrs. Walker. And my dad was driving the fire engine exactly where Kenny lives now, in Warrington. Risley is only up the road. Isn't that funny that you go over the same places? But then my mum got a furnished house because she worked at Ferranti's. Then she got a furnished house because she had our Brian, then she had our Viley back. And then our Sonny went home, and then it was me and Philly. The last kind of thing. She didn't have to work at Ferranti's then because she had a big family.
What happened at Ferranti's?
She used to make, they used to make shells and things.
Oh, like
for
bombs?
The war, yeah, yeah. But,
and your dad was a fireman?
Yeah. Well, he drove the fire engine. And he must have met Mrs. Holcroft many a time at Risley. And she said, well, we must have bumped into one another time and time again, you know, because he brought people in and she was a nurse.
Oh, right.
Small world, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very small world.
Yeah, it is really.
And she ended up being your neighbour when you lived in Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On Wakeley Road. It's funny, isn't it? But I mean, it seemed to be a long, long time in a little child's mind that you haven't seen your mum or your dad. And then one day my dad came to school where me and our Philly was. He must have talked to the headmaster, and me and Philly went out with him for the day.
All right.
And he had a couple of oranges, one each. Now nobody had any oranges. Where did he get them from?
Don't know.
See, I'm a bit like him, aren't I?
Yeah. So, How come your parents came to see you for the day but you weren't living with them?
Well, because we were billeted. My mum lived in another house with somebody, Mrs. Walker.
So she was like the lodger at someone's house?
And my dad was at the fire station.
Oh, so your parents weren't even living together?
No.
They couldn't?
You couldn't do what you liked. You had to go where you were directed.
I see. That must have been very difficult.
I don't know how today's people would get on. I'm
No.
sure they wouldn't be able to stand it, Roy. No, I don't think
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So as soon as your parents got somewhere together and enough room, they had you?
Then they had us all back together again.
Yeah.
But,
Were you glad about that?
oh yeah.
How long was it after you left Guernsey until you saw your mum for the first time again?
Do you know, I really don't know, Roy.
But quite a while.
Yeah. Because you begin to think to yourself, I forget what their face looks like. It's such a long time since I saw them.
Did you cry?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So what about the people to whom you were given, I suppose? What were they like?
Oh, I went to one or two horrible places. The first place I went to, she gave me some wool. And I gave my friend 2 or 3 little balls of wool because the lady gave it to me. She could see I was knitting. I like knitting. She gave me this wool. Well, I thought she gave it to me for me. When she found I'd given my friend 2 or 3 little balls, she hit the roof as it was though it was stolen. So then I had to move to another house. So we went up to the billeting officer's place where it's like lots of rooms where you go when they're waiting to put you somewhere else. And then I went to this scruffy place. Mind you, this poor old lady, she must have meant well. And I used to go up to our Philly's place. And I used to say to her, could you get me a bit of bread? She used to say, I can't. Go on quick. And I'll listen by the door if anybody comes, I used to say to her.
A bit of bread?
Yeah. And one day the lady came in. Mrs. Caldwell was her name. Her husband was the manager of Dunlop's in Manchester. And she said to me, are you hungry? And I said, yeah. And she said, whose coat have you got on? I said, this is my best coat. And I had the hat to go with it.
Yeah.
And she said, would you like to come and stay here? Yes, please, I said. So then I moved in with our Philly.
Yeah.
But I've always been a wicked little bitch, as you might say, because her brother lived there at the house, Mrs. Caldwell's brother. And I used to see him putting all this chocolate up in the big cupboard, see? Big dresser. So I used to get a chair there and I used to say to her, Philly, you hold the chair, stand on the dresser. And I used to get out 2 bars. She used to say, she'll know, she'll know. No, I said, she won't know. Innocent little girl like me. And every now and again I used to get 2 big bars of chocolate out of it.
Yeah. Where was he getting it from?
I don't know, black market I suppose. People could get anything that had money, Roy, always have and always will.
Yeah.